Hey folks, my name is Brian and you're watching Survival on Purpose. Today's video is going to be about a Georgia resource, and one of my favorite is Fatwood. Okay, so we're talking about Fatwood. The way I find Fatwood is my preferred method anyway, is to look for a pine stump. Fatwood comes from a pine tree, and it's generally the sap of a pine tree where there's a high concentration of the resin or sap, and it's very flammable. It's what they make turpentine out of, and it's also used in some other industrial uses, I guess, but you can definitely tell it when you find it because it's got a very distinctive smell. So we're in an area right here, and I'll show you around where there's been a lot of pine trees blown down from storms. Now, I'm in Georgia. Georgia has a lot of pine trees. Pine trees are notorious for falling over during storms. So a lot of people in their yards, in their homes, if there's a pine tree there, they cut it down. But we're not at my yard, but we're in a place where there's been some trees blown down. And so what I do is walk around looking for stumps. You can tell by the pine bark, and then that it's a pine tree, and just start kicking at them, poking at them, messing with them, seeing if they're solid. If they are solid, then there's a good chance that wood that is left, the solid wood, has Fatwood, has a lot of resin in it. That's what keeps it from rotting. If the wood around it especially is rotted and there's a solid piece, then that's very likely going to be Fatwood. And you can tell, you just cut into it and smell it. It's got a very kind of a pungent smell. You can definitely tell it. So if the whole wood, obviously if the whole stump is rotten, then it's not going to be Fatwood there. So I always look around, just kick at them, try to find a solid one. If you find one that's not solid, then move on. Sometimes you can find one that's partially solid and partially rotted, and that's what we're looking at here. This one I've broken away some of the rotted stuff away from the outside. And you can see, by the way, that's pine bark. So that's what pine bark looks like. That's the kind of tree you're looking for. It's going to have this bark right here on it. So I've got a couple of good tools you're going to need, maybe an axe and a saw. Now, a lot of people say you can dig up a stump, and that's where the most concentration of resin is, and I don't doubt that. Obviously that's at the bottom, so gravity is going to pull it that way, but it's a whole lot of work to bring a shovel and dig a big stump up. I found this, and you can tell when it sounds solid like that, there's a good chance it's Fatwood. And if you can see, you knock that away, knock all the old wood off, you're probably going to be left with some Fatwood. So we're going to knock some of this off here, see what we come up with. Okay, so that's got a pretty good smell to it, and you can see the orange or yellowish color in there. That's definitely an indication of Fatwood. And generally the stronger the smell and the deeper the color, the more resin it has in it. So what I always do is, if I find something like this, I grab some, take it with me, mark where it is so I can go back later. No sense in getting it all, but it's not going to rot. It'll last for years and years and years, actually. So I've already actually come before and got some off of this particular stump. That's how I knew where it was. And you can see, like that piece right there, you can just see the deep orange color in it. And so I'm gonna get some more of this. Okay, so sometimes it helps have a saw. I've got my Baco Laplander saw here, and it can really help you get a bigger piece. Sometimes what I like to do is just cut a notch top and bottom, come in from the side. Split it out. I just want to show you, you can see this dirty gray wood here. If you just chip away just a little bit of it right here, you can see underneath, that is all Fatwood right there. So it's a great find here. Take a little bit more of this and call this one a day. Sometimes where there's been a limb that has grown on there, the concentration of resins will be higher. So if you can, I like to try to get that piece of a limb. Now I could go all the way around and cut this whole trunk off, but not interested in working that hard today. So we'll just cut this above and below and try to split this knot out. See what we get. If you can see that inside that knot, it's almost amber colored right in there. That is solid, very good fatwood, so it's worth a little bit of effort. Okay, so that's how I go about finding fatwood. And I want to point out that, you know, you're not gonna, even in a log like this, there's almost like veins of fatwood in it mixed in with non-fatwood, and you can tell the difference because the wood that's not fatwood is probably going to be very easy to break and crumble, whereas the wood that is fatwood, you're not going to do that to. And even on this piece here, you can see this top edge here, it's got some kind of rotted wood that's not fatwood on it. It'll crumble right off there. But what's left, when you crumble all this, kind of scrape all this other stuff off, good solid fatwood. So it's one of my favorite fire resources, found all over Georgia and all over probably the world, but I know for sure it's in Georgia, and it's free. And I saw a box of this stuff for sale at Walmart the other day for 10 bucks. So, and you know, a little box like this. So this is a, in my opinion, much better price. Plus you get to get out in the woods, which is always a plus. Okay, so here's a piece of the fatwood from that stump. And you can see inside the colors, the orange is almost translucent looking. That's the resin. And there's several ways you can use this. One way is just to take the back of your knife. That's why it's good to have a good sharp 90-degree spine. On my soon to be cleaned again old hickory butcher knife, and just scrape the back of your knife along with a little bit of maybe a sliding motion. Just get really, really fine scrapings off the fatwood. Okay, make a nice little pile. So you can see that if you're doing it this way, using it for this in this way, even a small piece of fatwood will last you a long, long time. So just going to do this enough for demonstration. So put it up in a little pile. You can feel it's almost waxy feeling. You can take a ferro rod, you see that little, how well it burns. See the black smoke coming off of it? That's an indication of all the oils in it. The volatile, whatever it is that makes it burn so well. You can see that one little pile of scraping, how long it burns and how well it burns. And that will definitely give you a good chance to get a fire started if you have some marginal tinder. And if that's the case, then the next thing, another thing that you can do, another good use for this, and you can look inside that, you can just see that rosin almost oozing out of there, kind of sticky on your finger. But you can take some of this stuff and just split it down, and you don't even necessarily have to use a baton when it's little like this, but just kind of break off the break or scrape off the non-fatwood content. But I like to take and split it down into little tiny twigs. And once again, after you've got you can add these to the little pile of scrapings to really give you a head start on getting a fire going. And you can see again the inside of that is just absolutely golden colored. Once again, you can go as small as you need to. for the conditions you're in. But if you're in kind of tough conditions to get a fire started and you can't really find any, or you're having trouble finding any tinder, you can take a little piece of this. Now this little bit here will burn surprisingly a long time. And just show you that. You can see they flare up and burn very, very well. It's about three minutes now. It's still going strong, that little bit of fat wood. Okay, well, I hope you can see that little bit of fat wood that we just had with no other fuel burnt 4 or 5 minutes easily, and burns very hot, so it gives you a good opportunity to get something else started. So it's one of my favorite fire resources, and from Georgia or anywhere is fat wood. It's great. Hey, I'd also like to offer a quick shout out / thank you to the PA Bushcraft channel. When I had my 200 subscriber contest a while back, he was really instrumental in helping me promote my channel, and he really does a lot of work helping the younger, newer channels start out. And man, I really wanted to tell you, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you don't know who he is, go check him out. It's PA Bushcraft. I'll put a link here below this channel, below this video, and check him out. PA Bushcraft. He's got some great videos, and he's got a pretty cool beard too. So PA Bushcraft, thanks a lot, man. Y'all check him out. Okay, well, thank you. Subscribe to my channel. If you watch the videos, if you leave a comment, if you give it a thumbs up, those are all very helpful. And so, once again, I appreciate it. My name is Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident. So be prepared. See you next time.